When it comes to investing, imagine if you could just put money into 3 different ETFs and that's it. It was all set for retirement and the rest of your life. Today's video, we're going to be looking at 3 perfect Fidelity investment ETFs that are set for retirement. Now, Fidelity, as many of you do know, one of the largest money managers in the world. That is right. When it comes to ETFs, their first ETF was launched in 2003, but it was another 10 years before they brought another ETF to market. Now, of course, the company is sitting on 70 plus ETFs in total, and they are the 11th largest ETF issuer. Now, of course, very similar to what we see with Vanguard, they do have a Bitcoin ETF, which Vanguard, I don't believe at this point, is going to get into the Bitcoin ETF or the Ethereum ETF. So again, Fidelity Investments, a little bit of a difference. But when we start looking at this and start breaking into our 3 kind of core ETFs that we talk about on a regular basis, we did go ahead and look at Vanguard ETFs. We also did look at a couple others, and it is Fidelity's turn. Now, of course, I don't have any alliance or allegiance to any of these. I just want to make sure that you have the information out there when it comes to investing. Now, this one is a little more challenging when it comes to a core ETF, long-term retirement friendly ETFs. But of course, Fidelity does offer similar ones than what we see of the Vanguard Total Stock Market, the VTI, that we talk about that I hold personally in my investment portfolios. But of course, there are a few funds that really stick out. The first one is the Fidelity Enhanced Large Cap Core ETF. The ticker symbol for this is FELC. Now, this one is kind of interesting because the Fidelity ETFs have a much higher expense ratio than we see with our Vanguards. This one is a 0.20, which we know the Vanguards are a 0.03. So a couple of big things with this fund is, number one, they are actively managed. Now, of course, with the Fidelity funds, they do have a little bit higher of an expense ratio of a 0.20 basis points. But overall, when you start looking at the FELC, it is entirely almost US-based stocks. Very similar to what we see with our S&P 500, like the VOO or the VTI. They have very, very similar funds. Now, of course, a lot of it does come down to the personal preference and making sure that you're looking at the cheaper of the funds, what funds you have liquidity, what is going to offer diversification. Those are the 3 really big factors when it comes to ETFs. And honestly, when it comes to choosing ETFs, you have to keep all 3 of those factors in mind. What is the expense ratio? What is the liquidity in there? And also, what is the diversification, which is why we do the ETF comparisons to make sure we know exactly where the diversification comes from. Now, for me personally, I do not hold any foreign stocks. I do not hold any foreign investments, just like Warren Buffett. I keep everything within the United States and making sure that, that the core, like the S&P 500 funds, is really the core of any investment portfolio. And again, looking at a first-time investor, the FELC certainly does that with those core funds that we have. Second one we look at here out of the 3 perfect Fidelity ETFs is the Fidelity Total Bond ETF. That is right. The ticker symbol is FBND. This, of course, is the bonds. Now, me personally, again, really depending on age, I wouldn't invest in bonds just because the overall yield is not really there. Even when you look at up and down years, the bond market, I don't feel like is a great investment for a majority of people. However, depending on your age, a lot of people do like the bond ETFs. That way they have consistent income coming out of there with a lower expense ratio. And of course, with Fidelity, very similar to a majority of Fidelity bonds, this is actively managed and it comes with an expense ratio of 0.36, which is the high end, which could put it at a big disadvantage when it comes to the bonds itself. Now, we do know for a bond fund, a lot of people go with the iShare Core US Aggregate Bond ETF, the AGG, as their fixed income benchmark. However, a lot of people like the Fidelity one a lot better just for the simple fact that most of them carry a ton of government securities, which really kind of gets rid of the diversification aspect. When some of these bonds, you have to really pay attention when you're looking at them because some of those do carry north of 70% of the investment portfolios in US Treasuries or mortgage-backed securities, which again, if we have another meltdown of the housing market, not saying it's going to happen, but if it ever did, we could see a lot of trouble with that. Now, of course, when you look at the FBND, most of the allocation is still relatively high, around 55% of the assets that are in the government bonds, but you do have a lot in other, including junk bonds. Again, you have to be very careful with the diversification when it comes to junk bonds because essentially they have a high risk, but they do have a high return. So if you're looking for something that is kind of the overall bond market when it comes to the portfolio, it is a very good one with the FBND. It is probably one of the best bonds that we see from Fidelity. And the final one that we look at, which is one of my favorite, the Fidelity High Dividend Yield ETF. Now, as we have seen the rise essentially of passive income, of the dividend yields, this is another one with the ticker symbol FDVV that does incredibly well. And a lot of people avoid dividend ETFs, or they are kind of all in, and a few others, the VYM that we have seen, because there's a few different things to think. Number one, dividend stocks are very important for a long-term portfolio growth, but it does have to have a growth aspect in there. If you're putting it just into dividend stocks, chances are it's not going to grow as fast as we see like with a VUG or with the growth fund. And also looking at this, some of those incorporate, which this one does, actually incorporates dividend quality and a growth metric as a combination. So that is one of the really big things and why I do like this dividend ETF. They're focused entirely on dividends and only the dividend index that they're focused on generating essentially passive income. 15% payout ratio, but also a 15% dividend growth, which again, when you're starting to look at that growth factor, that is one thing that you do want to remember is the ability for this to grow. A lot of them, like I think of like the JEPI, where we don't see a lot of variance or a lot of the growth factor, it's more about generating income. But if you're truly looking for growth and looking to grow those balances, it is definitely one to have. Now, the dividend yield is pretty straightforward. The payout ratio and the dividend growth rate, not so robust. This doesn't perform as well as we've seen other dividends. But again, with it being from Fidelity, it does work very well. It tends to work better as kind of a cash flow or something similar. So maybe not holding this one in its entirety, or maybe even just the percentages being a little bit different, because when you look at the 1-year growth rate, not performing exceptionally well, but when you start going out a little bit further is really kind of the more appropriate kind of compensation that you look. And still looking at the portfolio, the value tilted better sectors towards the S&P 500, a little bit of international exposure, which was in that second ETF that we've seen. And of course, the current 3.1 yield is attractive when it comes to this. So looking at the Fidelity lineup, me personally, I do not carry any of the Fidelity ETFs. It seems like they do pretty well, but it seems like Vanguard performs a little bit better. Even when you look at a couple other ones, it seems like when you're really stacking up and structuring funds to funds, when you start looking at the cores, when you look at the VOO, when you look at some of the QQQ, it seems like when it comes to a core ETF, the Fidelity ones wouldn't be my number one with the structure, in my opinion. And again, looking at the VYM, looking at really the Fidelity High Dividend Yield, again, I don't feel like it competes. It has a little bit of a higher expense ratio and not performing as well. And then of course, when it comes to the bonds, I do not recommend putting money into bonds when you start building out your portfolio. And again, depending on your percentages, I usually do depending on age. Let's say your younger generation, 20s and 30s, I would put 50 to 60% in the growth because you have an exceptional amount of time essentially to let it grow. Probably putting at least 60% in that growth, putting 20% in that core, and then 20% in the dividend yield to really build this out, and then adjusting as you continue through age, making sure that you make the appropriate adjustments to essentially the percentages that you're putting in your portfolio. So guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.